I practiced the sentence so many times it started to sound like a lie. Not because it wasn't true, but because I could never find the right moment to put it down between us without it breaking.
There are feelings people don't hide out of deception. They hide them out of timing, out of fear, out of the quiet suspicion that saying it out loud will change the temperature of everything.
In the beginning, I didn't rehearse anything, I just spoke, because he listened in a way that made ordinary things feel like they mattered, the kind of attention that makes you stop bracing. We'd sit in his car after dates with the engine off, the dashboard glowing blue over his hands, and he'd turn toward me like nowhere else was waiting, catching small things and handing them back later, noticing my body before I did, touching the back of my neck and saying I was doing that thing again like it was a secret only we shared. It wasn't fireworks, it was warmth, the kind that settles in quietly, like the amber lamp in his apartment that softened everything, like the glass of water he handed me without asking, like being anticipated before I arrived. We said small things that added up, and when I told him something heavy from my past, he didn't rush me or fix me. He just stayed, and when he said he was glad I told him, something in my chest unclenched. The feeling grew slowly, not as a realization, but as a habit that didn't hurt, and somewhere along the way I started carrying a sentence with me, the truth in its most exposed form, the one that said I was falling deeper than he thought I was. I told myself I was being patient, waiting for the right night, rehearsing in mirrors and elevators and silence, trying different versions of the words like sweaters, wondering which one would make me look least needy. Then the shift happened so quietly I blamed myself for noticing, his phone becoming a constant presence, his attention splitting for half seconds, his questions thinning out until I was filling the gaps alone, laughing things off too quickly, shrinking moments before they could turn into something heavier. I remember sitting beside him on the couch, asking about the future in the smallest possible way, hearing sometimes, feeling that drop in my stomach, smiling and saying never mind, because it felt safer to erase myself than risk being too much. The rehearsing got worse, in his kitchen, in his car, in my notes app where I wrote truths and deleted them because they required answers, and there was a night I almost said it, standing behind him while he pulled off his socks. The words right behind my teeth until he said it had been a long day, and my body swallowed the rest without asking my permission. I lay awake beside him that night realizing the words weren't disappearing, they were collecting, and the longer I held them the more alone they became. I tried to make a moment on purpose, cooking at my place soft light, 2 glasses on the table, asking if I could tell him something real, starting with the safest version of the truth, watching his shoulders tighten, hearing him say he was overwhelmed, saying it was okay before he even finished, and letting the moment slide away untouched. I watched us move around each other like a good couple, sweet from the outside, while my real self stayed in another room, and later on the couch I asked if he ever missed us, heard him say we were fine, felt what he meant without him saying it, and chose peace over honesty because I loved him and was starting to believe that love meant being easy. The realization came on an ordinary night, him asleep with his phone in his hand, the TV asking if we were still watching, me writing the sentence the way it first came to me and understanding I wasn't rehearsing because I didn't know what to say, but because I didn't believe there was room for it anymore, not in the night, not in him. After that I chose silence more often, answering yeah before checking, watching his face pass through streetlight shadows, studying him like someone who wasn't leaving but fading, lying beside him in the dark with my eyes open, because the hardest part wasn't that he didn't hear me. It was that I started speaking less before he ever asked me to.
In the early stage, being heard can feel like being held, not with arms, but through presence, through steadiness, through the simple signal, I'm not leaving the room when you get honest. Rehearsing is often what people do when they don't feel fully safe anymore. Not unsafe as in danger, but unsafe as in uncertain. When you're certain you'll be received, you speak, and when you're not, you edit. Avoidance doesn't always sound like, I don't want to talk about it. Sometimes it sounds like agreement without engagement. Sometimes, yeah, sure, language that keeps the peace while quietly refusing depth. This is the place where a lot of people get stuck, not in rejection but in postponement, because overwhelm is real and exhaustion is real, and love can still be real while emotional availability becomes conditional. Later, not tonight, after this week. When someone is afraid of emotional complexity, not afraid of you but afraid of what feelings might demand, they start treating fine like a shield, not because they don't care, but because they do care and don't know how to hold more than what's already in their hands, and the other person quietly starts to disappear themselves to keep the peace. That's the silent turning point, not when love ends but when self self-expression does. People don't always leave a relationship first with their bodies, sometimes they leave with their voice. Stop bringing their full thoughts, stop telling the long stories, stop asking questions they can't bear the answers to, not out of drama but out of adaptation, and the relationship can keep running on routines, affection, and logistics until one person realizes they're surviving love instead of being met by. People underestimate how painful kind can feel when it replaces intimacy, because kindness can exist without curiosity, and curiosity is what keeps love awake. When curiosity leaves, partners can still behave well, do the right things, show up, but something essential goes quiet, the desire to know who you are today. Sometimes what ends a relationship isn't betrayal, but the repeated experience of being interrupted by life, not by another person, but by notifications, fatigue, mental load, the constant urgency of everything else. And after enough tiny interruptions, one partner stops competing for attention, not as punishment but as surrender.